This is my 2007 Mercedes S600 I have named the Silver Elephant. It has a V12 bi-turbo engine that puts out 510 horsepower and 613 foot-pounds of torque. A little over a year ago, I purchased this car for $4,500 with a bad motor. And in this video, I will detail what it took to bring this car back to life and the cost of ownership over the past year. Last year, I found the sad-looking sale ad for this car. At 149,000 miles, the longtime owner claimed the engine was severely overheated and needed replacement. They were originally asking $10,000 for this car, but with few potential buyers crazy enough to take this on, I was able to negotiate down to $4,500. I then drove 200 miles to Oklahoma to tow the Silver Elephant home, certainly testing the maximum load capacity on my half-ton GMC pickup. The seller claimed not to know why the engine overheated. He also didn't mention a number of other issues like the cracked windshield and bumper, scratched wheels, or that the motor was already partially disassembled. Parts and bolts were everywhere, and some parts, like a $1,000 coil pack, were destroyed by a careless mechanic. Putting the Humpty Dumpty motor back together again seemed expensive and impossible, so I began shopping for a used motor. I was fortunate to find a complete unit, including all accessories and computers for only $4,500. This meant the motor swap was just a drop-in affair rather than a giant jigsaw puzzle. With $9,000 into my car now, my mechanic billed me $1,450 to drop the used motor in, along with fresh fluids and preventative maintenance. With the car running, the issue that caused the overheating was obvious: a cracked radiator that had been repaired with JB Weld. Yes, JB Weld on a car that cost $160,000 new is what boat anchored this thing. $660 later, I had a new radiator installed, bringing the grand total of $11,110 invested. I could finally drive the car for the first time. Turns out the auxiliary cooling fan was also dead, costing another $375. Both batteries were flat, costing $325, and the right lower control arm was worn out, costing $300. This had caused uneven tire wear, so I spent another $100 finding a lightly used matching tire. To top it off, I did an $80 oil change, bringing my new total to $12,290. Next, I moved on to the cosmetics. Replacing the cracked windshield was a shocker, setting me back a whopping $1,400. An aftermarket replacement for my cracked fog lamp was a reasonable $85, and I spent $400 to fix a cracked bumper and touch up. To repair the scratched wheels, I spent another $200 and finished off with a professional detail for $75. Combining the purchase price, mechanical parts and labor, and cosmetic repairs, the grand total for a mostly like-new 2007 S600 was $14,450. Yeah, I spent more than 10 grand fixing it, but I still own this bi-turbo beauty for less than 10% of its original MSRP. During the past year, I put over 5,000 miles on the Silver Elephant, and the maintenance and repair cost has been nothing, zero, nada. Despite being a V12 car with hydraulic suspension and 1,000 gizmos and doohickeys, this car has been completely reliable. It totally shocked me too. Let's go over some of the coolest doohickeys while I'm in here, starting with the keyless go system. Now, I know a keyless go system isn't too unusual for a 10-year-old car. Prius has had them, but Mercedes is funny in that they planned for their system to break, because they made the push button removable so that you can put your key in when it breaks. Mercedes mercifully didn't make the same mistake BMW did with their iDrive system, relying solely on the knob to control pretty much everything in the car. There are plenty of shortcut buttons all over to accomplish any task you need, but the knob is cool as it goes deeper. My favorite part of this interface is adjusting the seats, and I do have the normal adjustments on the door, but with the knob, I can go a lot deeper, making this the most comfortable seat I have ever sat in. And they get even better when you select one of 5 different massage modes. Fast and vigorous, please. My favorite gizmo is with the LCD cluster display, which has a lot of useful features and menus, but the magic really happens when you press this button. Night vision mode engaged. And the cool technology extends to the back seat as well. I love the soft closed doors. Back here I have tons of my own seat adjustments as well, and a panoramic view of the sky above me, which I can close. But my favorite feature is with the back window. Say I'm stopped at a light and really want to look like a snob, so I look out to one of the pedestrians, give them a nasty look, and roll up my window like this. If I really want to show my disgust, I can do this. While this is a fantastic car to be chauffeured around in with its silky smooth V12 and hydraulic suspension, it's even better to drive. With over 500 horsepower and 600 torques, this is by far the fastest vehicle I've ever owned and gives a supercar sensation when you hit the on-ramp. So what's my secret to reliable V12 ownership? Superstition. Always leave one thing broken, because once you fix it, then the next thing will break. One thing that I have left broken is the charcoal filter canister for the fuel tank. It does not vent properly when filling up, so I have to hand operate the nozzle at only a slight trickle, taking forever to fill up. This would cost me about $500 to replace, but it's my sacrifice to the German car gods of reliability, and it seems to work. You can find a nice sorted S600 of this era in the low 20,000 range, which is an incredible deal considering it's depreciated more than what a nice house costs in Kansas. It also seems like an especially good deal when you stop by a Mercedes dealer and price out a new V12 bi-turbo. To celebrate my 1-year anniversary with the Silver Elephant, I've decided to give it a present. A Euro-charged ECU tune which will raise the horsepower to over 600 and the torque to over 700. I just can't leave anything alone. Oh, and it's supposed to raise the speed limiter to somewhere over 200 miles an hour. So I'm going to take my reliable car and probably break it because I'm an idiot.